Welcome back. Now, Karooooo has had a bumper third quarter. The mobility software group's adjusted quarterly earnings sits at a record near R8 per share, reflecting an increase of 21%. A company CEO Zak Calisto joins us on the line from Singapore with his assessment of the performance. Thank you so much for your time, Zak. Now, firstly, just walk me through the pillars of yet another record performance.
These things aren't done overnight. So it's, we've been consistent over many years of continue to invest in our business. We continue to invest in distribution, invest in our platform, invest in our people. So all we're really doing is it's just one step in the right direction. But it's based on fundamentals that we've been doing over many years.
All right. Now, Zak, just looking at South Africa, of course, you had significant growth there with Cartrack. How is Karooooo's growth pipeline in South Africa, and are you encouraged by the economic prospects?
We've always done well in South Africa. Even when it was very gloomy days, we still continue to grow and do well. Currently, I think the economic sentiment in South Africa is extremely positive. I think both businesses and consumers are very upbeat about the economy. And we're starting to see an acceleration in growth in South Africa, which is obviously very exciting for us.
And of course, you've got geographical diversification as well outside of South Africa. But each of the regions that you operate in has its own macroeconomic challenges. Would you say that your business remains defensive against those challenges? And really just what is most encouraging to you in the opportunities that you have here?
I think our business, provided there's trade, provided there's mobility, our business does well in good times and in bad times. Our business addresses not only productivity, but it also addresses cost saving, and it addresses in increasing revenue. So I think for as long as there's business and there's consumers, we'll continue to do well, unless there's a real catastrophe in any economy. Obviously, that becomes quite difficult. But should there be no real catastrophe, I think we'll do well in good times and bad times.
And actually, you talk about this great opportunity that you have, particularly in Southeast Asia. Just talk to me about what you are looking at here that is informing your expectation of growth there.
Well, it's probably in the world stage the fastest growing economic region in the world. It's got 600 million people. It's also, having said that, it's not a simple place to operate in because it has many cultures. It's got many different diverse geographical areas, each with its own culture. But I think being in Singapore, it facilitates that. And we've seen really good growth. And this last quarter, we saw on a constant currency, we saw 26% growth year on year. I believe we've still got a lot to do in terms of building distribution, building brand. But we've always been able to build things out. And I certainly believe over the long term, this is going to be our biggest opportunity.
And actually, what level of growth are you seeing in Europe? Because, of course, we have also seen there that environment is quite shaky at times.
In Europe, we really are picking up momentum. This quarter, we've grown at about 19% year on year. So it's our second fastest growing region. So okay. Southeast Asia is the fastest, Europe second, South Africa is third. But fundamentally, I still see South Africa, despite being third, we're going to start picking up momentum. And all these regions are really ready to really get some tailwinds and get more growth in these areas, and hopefully we can execute.
Well, let's bring it back to Africa and really zoom into Mozambique. Of course, there is a political instability there that is having an impact on a number of businesses in different industries. Just talk to me about what you have seen in terms of, the cost of that to Karooooo, and also really how you're navigating that situation.
Well, the first thing is that the huge negative impact on us in terms of a region in this Q3, and that is that we're suspending billing to customers. Most of our large enterprise customers have been badly affected. Their warehouses have been burnt down, their fleets of vehicles have been burnt down, their offices have been burnt down. So there's been a combination of demonstrations and riots, and fundamentally, I think the political unrest is very strong, and we are hoping that they can come to some consensus where they actually can build a democracy that's good for everybody in the economy, and I think at this point in time, there's not much we can do except wait for the dust to settle, and hopefully they can reach some consensus and rather focus on building the country.
And of course, Karooooo really has demonstrated that significant growth comes from investment. In terms of that, what are the investment priorities that you are focusing on right now?
Our investment priorities are in all the regions, and I think it's always fundamentally just making sure we've got the back office, the infrastructure, and we've got the distribution capabilities, and that we continue to invest in our platform. We're releasing a new platform in about 2 or 3 months' time. So there's continuously, I think we just don't stop, there's always more to do, if that makes any sense. And more to do means more investment.
Yeah. And just lastly, Zak, I do understand that you have a very positive outlook, but are there any risk factors that you are keeping a close eye on that could maybe have some impact on your growth momentum?
I think the biggest factor is always if there's real, something like what's happened in Mozambique, that's obviously got an impact, and that I wouldn't call it a bad economy. I would just call it, I'm quite happy to call it a catastrophe, if that makes any sense, and which is beyond a bad economic environment. But should if things be as normal, there's actually nothing that worries me. Obviously, the things that keep me up at night is actually finding the way to be able to execute at scale and continue to grow the business. And that obviously needs agility, it needs innovation, it needs continuously thinking how to execute on that. How to grow the teams, how to build the teams, what technology we should be developing, what should we be doing. So those are the sort of things that keep me up at night. But I don't think there's anything that's a real threat. So the real threat would be if we stop innovating, if we stop growing. I think that's probably the biggest threat.
All right. Well, congratulations on another quarter of growth there, Zak. Really appreciate your insights. That was Karooooo CEO Zak Calisto.